Hello Form 2. Okay, so for this week's lesson, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be drawing apples. You'll see that in Google Classroom I've shared with you the photos of the apples that I would like you to choose from. If you would like to cut open an apple and use an apple in front of you, you can do that as well. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to start by just sketching and planning our drawing, and what we'll end up with is this is an example from 2 years ago, where this is my example that I show the students. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be drawing the whole apple. This is a different apple, obviously, and we're also going to be looking at blending colors and creating all the different beautiful tones that you can see in the drawing. Today we're just going to be using our very sharp pencils, and you might need an eraser and a sharpener. But next lesson, what I would like you to do is I would like you to have some pencil crayons to use. Okay, now you can use, for example, I have some artist color pencil crayons that I have here. However, you can also just use regular color pencils that you should all have by now to help you when you have to add color to your work. So, but today, like I said, we just need just our regular pencils. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a B. You could start with a HB, a B, or a 2B. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look up the picture that I've chosen. So I've chosen this picture. And again, I'm going to just start by very lightly planning out my drawing. So I'm not really worried about accurate shape at this point. What I'm doing is I'm just planning out loosely the scale and the proportions of my apple. So you can see I've got this lovely yellow part here, and then I've got part of the base here, and I can then just lightly, I'm just planning out the shape. So you can see already that it's a very big size. And then once I've drawn out the shape very loosely, I would suggest that you don't spend longer than 5 minutes just planning it out. Then what I want you to do is you're gonna just start to draw a more accurate shape on top of the drawing that you've just made. Now, what you can see that I'm doing here is I'm using my other finger to help me to just figure out where all of the proportions and the shape is, and I'm just drawing like we did with the onion. I'm just drawing a little bit darker on top of what is already there, and I'm just very lightly planning out also the inside of my apple. Now, compared to the onion, the drawing of this should be much easier. And the reason why we're using an easier shape with less detail for this one is because we're now starting to look at how to apply color to our drawings. Okay, but obviously for now we just need to plan and sketch out what it's going to look like. Okay, right, so just going to have a little look at the proportion. Already I can see from my drawing that the end of the apple here, the end of the flesh of the apple, is a little bit closer to the side, and I'm looking at the apple, I would say about 90% of the time. Try not to just draw what you think an apple should look like. Try to really look at all the little edges in your apple as you go along. Because we're doing this in pencil, obviously, if we make mistakes, it's fine. So we can just erase them as we go along. Just keep looking back and forth at my apple. I'm just drawing now this beautiful part here. Okay, I'm happy with that. So I've just changed it a little bit. Now you're going to spend the whole lesson just doing this, just planning out the different parts. Oh, so here I've got a little cut in my apple there. I'm looking at the distance between parts as well. So this is the part that you can see the skin on my apple. Got a lot of brown here. I really like these pictures of the apples because what you get all these really interesting parts where the colors are changing because the apple is kind of drying up a little bit. Okay, and then I have another part here again. Like I said, don't just draw what you think the apple should look like, because then you're going to get a very sort of cartoon version of the apple. And drawing it so big as well is really going to help me to get all that detail. Okay, so going up here, it goes a little bit. I can look at the distance as well. So actually the top of the stalk, can you see it goes to the top of the apple? So actually my apple needs to be much higher up from my original drawing. Okay, so that's all I really want you to do this lesson. I don't want you to do any shading. I don't want you to do any colour. All I want you to do is just carefully sketch out the size of the apple, and then on top just try and draw the accurate shapes. Okay, and that's all I want you to do today. Once you've finished at the end of the lesson, give yourself give yourself 35 minutes to do this, and at the end of the lesson just take a photo of what it looks like so far and put it on Google Classroom so I can have a look and give you any tips or help. Okay, good luck.